Yeah, the TV's going out. Started yesterday, so um, probably have to get a new one. I'm definitely gonna have to get a new one next month. I'll scrap whatever plans I had completely, because the bottom screen has a bar going across it, like it's the vertical or whatever you want to call it. It's showing up. Top of the screen's kind of going fuzzy. The graphics itself is more like kind of a grainy-ish, like it's like you're watching an old DVD from the transfer from the 90s, like say Star Trek Next Generation. If you had one of the DVD transfers with the Fan Collective, it's like that. It's not coming in clear enough when you can see all the distortions and imperfections, stuff like that. So it makes it a little bit harder for me to focus on the game itself. And it doesn't have to be with the DDP or whatever it is, the 720 whatever, you choose the option. It's not that. It's the T-Con problem is one reason why it's going out. The second is the screen's burning itself out, because these generic TV brands don't last more than maybe a year. And even if I had the insurance, for example, it wouldn't be worth having it replaced, because then I'd have to go through this whole thing again. So I'm going to be spending a little extra money getting a brand TV. My old one was a Vizio, and I spent $200 on that. And I also got one for my late wife, and she had, and both lasted about the same amount of time, which was about 8 years. But these generic brand TVs, more or less, just, it's not about skimping on quality and durability and stuff. It's just that the amount of elements and metals involved is kind of on the depreciative side. So there isn't. It'll only last for so long. Even if I baby this thing for the next, from the time I bought it to now, it would have only lasted another 6 months tops, and it would have burned out anyways. The quality of a lot of things lately I've been noticing has been going downhill, not just in electronics but also in food. Noticing a lot of things. The food department's been going crazy. Like your favorite seasonings, for example, it looks like it's been stuck in some kind of a wet environment, so it's clumping together more. Oh, I actually tagged it from that distance. He doesn't know where to go. Oh shit, I missed by 6 miles on that one. Oh, I see what he's doing. How is it that I can not hit from that range? I snagged and bagged his ass twice. Oh, come on, are you fucking kidding me? That's like 4 shots in a row I shouldn't be missing from that. Oh man, he moved like 10 miles off target. Well, it's also due to the fact my TV's burning out, so I can't see the shots very well. Okay, here's the engine on fire. Shit, biscuits. I gotta bring him around. Oh, he's already damaged. Got them good. That's getting me. So when I checked last night's session, this thing popped up, the bottom bar popped up about 2 or 3 minutes in. into the session, but it wasn't. Oh, you guys are fine. Jesus. Oh, Lord, is everyone just... Look, I'm going to play for a few minutes, and then I'll tend to your situation, Angela, okay? I know I've already gave you a bath, but there isn't much more I can do. Okay? So we have to take that down. Gets blown halfway across the map. Yeah, so it's really irritating. I have to deal with this because not only does the bar itself, the TV, whatever it's going on the TV, it's affecting the gameplay a little bit, slowing things down considerably. This area didn't usually have so many lag issues, but because of the, you know, I won't forget. I thought for a second that wasn't going to pick it up, but I guess I was wrong. Yeah, this whole thing's really messed up. So I'm not going to be able to do much game playing because of it. You know, because of this issue. So it may be like 3 or 4 days before I try to do another session if I can, because the last thing I need is for the screen to go completely dark before I even try. But it probably won't do it till, you know, it turns off and it doesn't turn back on. That means the whole thing is dead. You know, I've done that before. My late wife's TV went that same way. It started roll bar, you know, the bar situation and everything else. And then it was like, you know, it didn't turn itself back on afterwards. You know, I wish these TVs were long lasting, like 15 years old. And it's like, hey, guess what? Everything's good. Nope, that's not what's going to happen. Well, I got a new one. I'm going to be buying a Vizio next month. See if that doesn't, see what happens. But my caregiver was going, oh, just go to Dollar Village and get one. I said, that's not going to work, because for one, when you go to a thrift store, you try to find a TV, there's a lot of things that's missing from the TV, like say the remote, cables and everything else. And sometimes it's not working, sometimes it's broken when you get it. So, you know, you don't want to risk having a broken setup. And so it's more the best to actually get a decent rig. And because the fact is, most TVs, if you got a box-like TV like from the early 90s, 2000s give or take, you're going to end up having to spend a lot of money to find all the right cable cord connections and everything. And even if you could find it, a lot of these TVs, like the one I've got, it's not the smart TV thing that's the issue. It's the fact that a lot of the equipment, like you have, like the soundbar that I've got and everything else, requires a specific, you know, pin connections, and also audio cable connections. It's because it's vastly different from a TV setup you got 15 years ago, 20 years ago, because the technology's changed so much, you know, and so a lot of it wouldn't be compatible, is what I'm trying to say. You know, an older TV wouldn't be compatible with this current soundbar, the current PlayStation 4 or 5, and also the Blu-ray DVD players are completely different too. So that also impact your ability to find a replacement. And a used TV, even if you could find one that was in good condition, it'd last you maybe 2 or 3 months on average, and then you'd have to go get another one. So basically, you're wasting more money trying to get replacement for the one you already should have replaced with a more solid rig. And it's like, because I realize money's tight for everybody, but sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and spend the extra money to make sure that this thing will last. And I wasn't expecting this thing to burn out so quickly, but it did because it's a generic brand. So, and I mean, it's not that bad if you have to do it in a pinch, but, I was planning on getting a secondary as a backup, but everything's been so expensive. I've been only holding the line on my own front. So it's just been, it's been very difficult to try to get replacements for something because it doesn't always work that way. So it's like crap. Because I can tell right now, looking at the map and everything, it's extremely bad. I may not be able to get more than 1 or 2 sessions out of this thing before the thing completely fries. But the weird thing was when I checked out the session I did yesterday, everything went perfect. Okay, there was no issue, no indication that the bar line would show up, because then I realized that your broadcast session is directly from your PlayStation, as far as I can figure. So whatever is going on with the TV itself will not translate to the broadcast session unless something else went wrong, like an audio connection or something like that. But this was something to do more with the T-Con circuit board. Whatever it was that I found on the internet last night had explained what was wrong. And a lot of these newer smart TVs apparently have a T-Con board of some kind, which is new to me. And so they said a replacement would be about $150 to $250, which makes it getting it fixed pointless, because you could just get a decent rig for maybe $160, $200 minimum if you want to go a little fancy. But I saw a lot of TVs on Amazon last night that are running the $300, $400, $500 range, and I'm pretty sure they're decent televisions and everything, or flat screens. But it's like my friend down in Mississippi. He wants to buy one of those Alienware type systems, for laptops or PC rather, and he wants to blow $3,000 on it, for example. Okay, now the thing is that in the 90s, okay, because I was in my my 20s basically during that time, and when you're looking at a computer in those days, it would be you $2,000 or $3,000 for something that was what was it back in those days? A 20 gigabyte hard drive. Nowadays we don't have to care about it, but back in those days the computer hard drive technology was pretty much brand new. We were just breaching the 10 gig, 20 gig, 30 gig hard drive barrier. Okay, and so of course naturally the price would be $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 because of the new technology. It's basically brand new, and it needs to be broken in, it needs to be refined, it needs to be done this and that. Each generation of system comes out with something better. So like my friend here says, he wants to get this this Alienware system, and I said, dude, in 3 years, the current laptop you just bought to replace the one that died, it's $300 by the way, $336 I think. It can do everything that he really wants to do on this. He doesn't need something super fancy and everything that feel at home. I mean, I know it's fine and dandy to geek out and shit. Everybody wants to feel like, hey, you know what, I accomplished this, and I'm feeling kind of like powerful, like Superman. And it's every guy's dream to have all this cool gadgets and this one thing that'll impress the ladies, impress the world and everything. Like, hey, you know what, I got this awesome graphics card and everything, and look what this thing can do. Because we all had those moments in our lives where we just wish we had this thing to just be on the top of the pecking order in society, and that's perfectly normal. But nowadays, when you're looking at laptops, looking at TVs, looking at, let's say, Blu-ray DVD players, now some of them are good, they're more durable, and yes, brand names do carry a lot of weight, and yes, they do last longer, but you really don't need to spend a whole shit ton of money just trying to get one thing replaced. I mean, it's okay if you want to economize and save a few dollars here and there, But in terms of computers and flat screen TVs, like the one I have right now that needs replaced, I spent 180 bucks on this one because they didn't have the one I wanted, you know. So I had to get a secondary that was a backup. I mean, you know, a backup option, and so I picked this one. And now it's a generic brand, and it does work in a pinch until I could find a decent one that's a brand name, so it'll last longer. So I won't have to come back in a year or two and get a replacement. I can wait 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 at the most, then get the replacement. And just, you know, it's the same with laptops or computers. You really don't need. You could do like what was it? I got I think mine's a 500 gigabyte hard drive on my laptop. The one my late wife had. I mean, well, my brother bought it like 8 years ago, and it's like 500 gigabyte hard drive, give or take. Okay. And minus the fact that I used my older one for gaming, like say PC games and all that kind of stuff. The reality is, most of the time I used it for word processing. I'm working on my novels, working on my stories, my Star Trek fan fiction. So I really didn't need all that extra, you know, memory space for all my stuff, because it barely cracked about a gigabyte's worth of, you know, memory. Same with my pictures, you know. But you really don't need all that, you know, when you're talking 1, 2, 3 terabytes of hard drive space. What exactly do you really need it for? I mean, unless you're doing some high-end gaming with some really kick-ass games that eats up a shit ton of memory, yes, you do need to have that kind of memory. Yes, you do need the absolute top-tier graphics card, graphics engine, computer chip, whatever it is that'll make this puppy go. Okay? But if you're just doing some simple shit, okay, you really don't need all that fancy hardware, all that fancy extra storage space, and everything else that's required, because in the end, you're just blowing a hole in your budget, and you're not really going to get your money's worth. Now, the thing is, these systems are not cost effective for a reason, because a lot of this stuff is more or less new technology. Like Apple's new laptop, for example, has a first generation AI chip built into it, so it can handle 1 million applications at once, which is perfectly normal because this is a new tech. It needs to work the bugs out, and also put it through its paces and break it in and all kinds of fun stuff. You know, it's perfectly normal for it to cost like $4 or $5 grand, because that's some serious hardware shit right there. But if you're looking for something simple and economic, you know, in terms of having something that'll just work for you, then all you need is just a minimum basic you know, rig to work with, and that's all you really need, you know. And that's, you know, and that'll save you a shit ton of money until you feel like you want to go absolutely fancy there, and then you can spend money. But most of the time you don't really need to put in a shit ton of cash in order to, you know, do your thing, unless you're just one of those kind of like fancy geek gamers that do the, you know, but you don't really need a, you know, to spend a lot of money, especially in this type of. So. You know, just think about it the next time you need something. Why am I still in combat? Oh, I see why. one combat, I didn't escape from combat. Yeah, I can tell. The whole thing's frying, the whole screen, because it's definitely the color palette. The screen's fading pretty quick, so I'm probably going to have to make this my last session until I can get the thing replaced. So probably about another 2 weeks, maybe 18 days before my TV comes in. If I'm going to go through Amazon, but I'm going to try and go through another local computer store and get a replacement. But I got to find out from my caregiver just how big his car is. If it's big enough to fit a 40-incher, then I can get a 42-inch setup, and then I'm gonna have to buy the insurance just in case. I mean, on this particular one, anyways, and just work off that later on, because otherwise I'm just gonna end up getting I mean, it's not exactly my ideal setup, but this thing's just I gotta do something before this thing completely fries itself. So. Oh hell, that was just 2 in 1. Seriously? Right between his legs. I mean, come on, how could I possibly miss from this range? Yeah. It's like fire all over and 0 point motivation until you hit all that impact points. Yeah, just like we did. Which, by the way, is a good movie. I mean, after a while, it kind of grows on you. Star Trek Next Generation Nemesis. I mean, I wish I could have done more for it, but it kind of had that laid back. Fan farewell kind of moment, it's like, yes, we know the crew is gonna say goodbye forever, but oh shit, something just painted me. What the hell, where is it? Oh, this is gonna suck as hell. Oh, I see. That's really challenging because I can't see the secret very well. Oh, I see him. He's right in front of me. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to make this my last session. I wish I didn't have to do this, but there's not much I can do about it. When I get the replacement TV, I'll come back online. Okay. Of course, it'll take me about, I don't know, 20-30 minutes to figure out the new rig. Just wish I didn't have to worry about it so much. finish the session, I'm not going to be able to go. Sucks. Not much I can do about that. Yeah, I should stop lamenting. I know everyone's been listening to me for ramble on for like 30 minutes for like a moron. Short. So just remember to save your game progress, and I hope you had enjoyed this session, even though it's short as a result of a dying television. So I'll see you when I can, and enjoy the weekend.